How do you stop struggling with jealousy and comparison as an intuitive? How do you overcome those feelings of like paying, like, oh, that person has that life, that person has that success, and I don't. I don't have 10 million followers. Like, how do you get over that? And the answer to that is that sometimes our pangs of jealousy are either negative or positive. And you might be like, well, how are pangs of jealousy positive? So there is such a thing as like spiritual anorexia. Like, there is this concept sometimes in the New Age world where it's like we have the potential to become the same conscious level as Jesus Christ, which I know sounds like very, very like out there. The thing about that is this is almost like spiritual anorexia, I would call it. Like, you're trying so hard to be perfect that sometimes you let people walk all over you, you let people take advantage of you because you're trying so hard to be that top level of consciousness. And sometimes you have to be a little bit practical. Sometimes you have to be a little bit human. And it's part of what this channel is about. Like, how do I set boundaries? How do I walk away from people who are trying to take advantage of my kindness and my generosity as an intuitive? And what does that have to do with jealousy? Well, we have to set boundaries on people who, even if they are putting a positive influence out there, if it's negatively affecting us, that's the negative side of jealousy. Like, they are very, very skinny and scantily clad. That could be one example. Or they could just be a person who's really out there in their opinions and it's triggering us, and not in a healthy way. It could be political or something that's not going to change. We sometimes have to filter these influences out in order to be happy and healthy and whole as intuitives. Now, there's another kind of jealousy, and this one is a little bit better. It's a little bit more positive. That's when you see somebody doing better than you and you're jealous because you realize you have that potential inside of you. You realize that this is actually what you want, and you get clearer on your goals and what you're actually going for in life. Like, nobody benefits when you have small goals. And in fact, the bigger your goals are, the more likely you are to achieve them because they're going to pull you forward. They're going to motivate you. Like, when you have something great that you're going to come out with, then that's the thing that's going to pull you forward and make you want to achieve the thing that you're hoping to achieve. And if you get there, you're going to be so proud of yourself. Whereas it's like, if your goals are like, just get the bills paid, like, yes, we do need to pay bills, but that may not be enough, even though you're thinking you're being easier on yourself by not demanding as much. The problem is those bills are so boring that you may not even do that. You see what I mean? So we need to be a little bit disciplined in choosing what we're going to achieve. And when we get jealous of somebody else, it could be because they're genuinely inspiring us, you see? And then when we go after the dream that they're after, we're living our best lives. We are becoming fulfilled. So that's the good kind of jealousy. If you feel that and you really want to achieve something because you know it's going to be good for you and you know it's going to be fulfilling, then go on and achieve that thing. There's nothing wrong with that. So how do we cope with both kinds? So the toxic kind, though, let's say you're worried about somebody being more physically attractive than you. This is one of the toxic versions of jealousy. And you have to remember, as a human being, you have your own unique qualities, and it's not always about your good looks that make you attractive. Think about it, like, all of us in our lives, we're probably attracted to somebody at some point in our lives who was not that good looking, right? Maybe they were just average looking, but there was something about them, about their values, about some of the activities that they were doing, or the people they were hanging out with. There was some facet of their lives that attracted us. And in the same way, we can become attractive people without necessarily being a supermodel. And surprisingly, you might learn that supermodels are sometimes not so attractive psychologically because they're so concerned about looking as good as everyone else. And so if you're not a supermodel, you don't have to deal with that burden of comparison. You don't have to deal with those insecurities. It can actually be quite toxic. So by contrast, you don't have to be a perfectly good-looking person. And as the population veers towards obesity in the States, 3 out of 4 people are obese, okay? So it's gonna be natural that obese people become attracted to other obese people. Like, they don't have to wait until they're size 0 to find their life partner. You see what I mean? It's possible for people of the same size to connect and have a fulfilling relationship and work on their health together in a productive way. And there's no need to be perfect, because what is perfection? Like, when are you perfect? When you're anorexic? Then that's not perfect either. You see what I mean? And so we're always growing, we're always striving to be more as human beings. That's how we stay healthy. And we want to make sure whatever we're jealous of is fueling us and motivating us to become better. If we're feeling a little bit envious of the sibling that has the perfect marriage, then maybe that's the thing we should be striving to find in our lives. Not in a position of neediness, because that will basically scare it away, potentially, but you want to see it from the perspective of, I'm setting the standard and I'm open to this kind of person coming into my life. And I don't need that person, but I'm open to that. I'm not like shutting the door and putting up walls to keep people away because I'm so scared. That's the right balance that you want to put out there. And then when people are trying to offer you less than what you deserve, you share your standard. You're like, oh, I don't hook up. I'm actually looking for this. You know, whatever that standard is for you. And you only know what your standards are because it's your body and it's your life. You know, not everybody always strives for marriage. There are exceptions, like Oprah Winfrey didn't get married, but she's very happy and fulfilled with her personal life. So it depends on the person. What is the right standard level of relationship? But you do want to be treated well. So the formal kinds of relationship tend to influence people to behave better sometimes. Sometimes when things are a bit more informal, where you're not going on paid dates, people will see it as a chance to kind of get away with something. But it depends on the person. If the person's sincere and it's a great match, you actually don't need that many rules. If you think about it, the rules are there to protect you from the wrong people when your intuition isn't working in that area of your life so well, because you're biased and you're really hoping for the Prince Charming or the princess, and then you accidentally end up with people who are kind of nasty. That's what the rules are there for. But if you actually met the right person and you were lucky and saw it clearly, which rarely happens, but it can happen, you don't need to know about that many games that left brain people play, because you've already found the right person who's a good match for you and has good character. Having said that, if you're jealous and you're looking for something, there's no shame in that. That's my point. You want to be open to good things and inspired to go out and get them in the world.